Hey folks, JD here, and today we have the U-FLY W606-3. This is, as I like to call it, the Oreo Cookie, because, well, I think it looks a lot like an Oreo cookie. So, I've just arrived now at our testing grounds, and I've just made sure that everything's all screwed in nice and all the propellers are in correctly. Now, there is one slight amendment I want to make from the unboxing. I'm pretty sure in the unboxing I said this copter does not have altitude hold. Indeed it does. It has a form of it here, where once you click this button it stays put. So we'll be testing that out as well in a couple of moments. Right, so we've gone through the pre-flight checks, everything checks out, everything's fine. Let's bind the transmitter to the quadcopter, let's take her up, let's fly her around a bit. We have got a bit of a breeze here today, coming in at just under 4.5 miles an hour. So we're going to take it easy, we're going to see how she does. A couple of little amendments on last time. I noticed that during the unboxing this was the uncamera version, as it were. Does not have a camera. But when I went back and double checked my Amazon order, I ordered it with a camera. So I have been speaking to the manufacturers to see if there's anything, or to the sellers rather, to see if there's anything that we can do about getting that replaced for the camera version. Obviously I fully accept that I've taken it out and I have, I'm going to be testing it. So answer is probably not, but I have raised it with them. So there we go. So I've unscrewed the back, I've plugged in the battery. Let's knock on the quadcopter and let's bind it to the transmitter for 2 up, 2 down motion to get this to bind. Now I have come out here today and it is a little bit darker than usual because I want to have a little look at these LEDs, because these lights are very bright. One thing I did notice in the unboxing is that these are brighter than any LED that I have come across in a quadcopter, and that is because I think there's 2 or 3 LEDs per pod, giving it a very, very bright look there. So we're going to take her up, we're going to have a little look, we're going to see how she does, and then we'll bring her back, we'll stick the run cam to her, we'll take her back up again. Hopefully then it would have brightened up a little bit and we can get some nice shots then around the sky. Alright then folks. Oh, this thing is loud. Okay, so up we go. So first thing I notice, this reminds me a lot of the JJRC H26D, in so much that it feels really heavy when it's in the sky. So let's just take her around. Not forgetting the white LEDs are the front and the blue LEDs are the back. Wow, you can really hear this thing cutting through the air. It really Okay, so now as we've got her up there, let's try a couple of things out. Let's try the high. Oh, got a little bit of breeze pushing her back there. Just got to right her a little second. Let's try the altitude hold. That seems... So yeah, I have absolutely no control now on whether she is high or low. Let's just keep her halfway. Breeze pushing her back slightly. So let's just take her out a little way. Let's turn her around. Oh, she seems quite skittish. Let's take her out of our altitude hold. Okay, so now that we have her up and she's working, this did take a bit of calibration. She is not the easiest quad to be flying. She is most definitely very heavy. And if you do go too low with the throttle, the blades just cut out. They don't just slow down. So because of the types of motors in this quad, they do just cut out, which is a little bit of a shame really, because of the weight of this thing. It doesn't have to come down to ground then. So look at that. Let's keep her there. So now we have altitude hold. You can see that from the flashing of the LEDs. So let's try something. Let's bring her down. Let's get her to land. So let's bring her down. Let's cut the engine slightly. Whoa! Yeah, even by cutting the engine slightly, she really does fall. This really is a heavy quad. Okay, so we have the run cam connected. I decided to go for the top this time. We have a little bit of clearance there with the propellers and the cam, so we should be all right. Plus, the top of the quadcopter is nice and flat, so we're going to have a nice flat base for the run cam to sit on. So let's just adjust these little polystyrene floats here. There we are, back to where they should be. Okay, so let's take her up. So up we go. Right. So she doesn't seem to be bothered by the addition of the run cam. She does seem to be controlling that quite well. Let's bring her down a bit, let's rotate her a little bit. Give her a little bit more throttle there as well, because she does drop really quickly. She's cutting into this slight breeze that we've got here today very, very well. She does seem to be holding her line really quite well as well. She doesn't seem to be, she isn't calibrated incorrectly, and she's not flying one way more than the other. Okay, so that's the sign of the battery. So let's do a little bit more altitude hold if we can. Come on, fella. No, the battery is really taking a pounding here. Okay, she's coming back to me. There we are. So the battery was alerting us that it was low. So I landed her, had a quick little look at her, turned her back on, and now the flashing seems to have stopped. The LEDs will flash in a completely different motion when she is low on battery. It'll be really rapid. Oh yeah, she isn't responding as well. She's not climbing as high as she was, or as fast. So she's definitely down on a little bit of juice. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so let's bring her down. Let's turn her around and let's land her the best that we can. There we go. Oh, that's not too bad. She's very heavy to fly, folks. Reminds me a lot, as I say, of the JJRC H26D. That copter was very heavy, and this one is exactly the same. All in all, well, this is a copter that I bought purely on its looks. I had not seen a round one before. I decided, oh great, fantastic, let's buy it. It looks exactly like an Oreo cookie. I thought that was its best selling point. To be honest, flies quite well, handles quite well. The altitude hold function, this particular button here, now it's quite strange. We've seen altitude hold before, and normally the left analog stick is up like that, whereas this one it's not. But you've got an altitude hold button instead, so you can just press it, let go, and obviously then the copter will stay at a level altitude. So yeah, I mean, I am quite impressed. I sound a little bit unimpressed, just because I often thought that the JJRC H26D, the motors could have been slightly more powerful, and I feel the same about this one as well. I think that could also be very true as well. So if they had a little bit more powerful motors in here, then you would get a much smoother flight. You do feel that when you're taking off, you've got to give her a lot of throttle for it to initially lift, and then you've got to bring the throttle down, otherwise she just goes really high. So yeah, you've got to use your wits and your judgment a lot with this copter. I would say it's definitely not a beginner copter. I would say you would have to have this one in the intermediate, if not intermediate advanced bracket, just because it takes a lot to control, it takes a lot of judgment. You have got to make a lot of calls as you fly it as well. One of its fantastic selling points, these LEDs, they're so bright. Normally, only I've looked at a lot of my footage that I filmed over the past year or so, and whenever I look over it, I think to myself, oh, I can't see the LEDs. Well, I'm not being funny, I think we're going to be able to see this today. That's why I also chose quite a dim, dark morning to come out on, so that we could see these LEDs properly. The structure of it, after being flown, I said in the unboxing, it feels really sturdy, and it does. But this bothers me here, how it's blown its cover. Now I had one, when I took her up for a little test flight, I had one dodgy landing where it landed on the back here and then flipped forward. It wasn't by any means a crash landing, but it wasn't nice on the landing sprigs. But that certainly wasn't there, so that would have had to have happened as she's flying. Now, I don't see how, personally. Quite strange. So yeah, as I say, all in all, I'm really quite impressed. I think it's quite a good copter. If you're a beginner, don't touch it. Learn how to fly first, learn the basics, learn how to take off and land, and how to move the copters directionally before you go for something like this. So there we have it, folks. Hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching and listening. I've been JD. You've been fantastic as always. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Also check us out on Blogger and Patreon. Links will be in the video. So until next time, my friends, thanks for watching and happy flying.